Listen, I know that we all have much greater things to worry about than where we're going to find our next bit of audio entertainment. We've got this crazy kingdom here with these towers and these prisons of hope and whatnot, but I'm here to let you know that today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Despite all of the mind flayers, you can get a free audiobook download at audibletrial.com/bonfiresidechat. Over 100,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Just try not to worry about those mind flayers.
Some of our landings were desperate adventures. We are now prepared to meet the inevitable counterattacks with power and with confidence.
My name is Gary Butterfield.
My name is Kole Ross.
My name is Murph.
And you are listening to Bonfireside Chat. It is an undead favorite.
And this week we are talking about Worlds 3.2 and 3.3 of Demon's Souls, finishing up the Tower of Latria. And as you heard, we're joined by Murph from the Dork Knight podcast. Thank you so much for joining us, Murph.
My pleasure.
Hey, Murph.
Yeah.
Yep.
So astute listeners will remember Murph from season 1.
Mm.
Which episode were you on?
Actually,
I should know. I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Which one are you?
Yeah.
No, appropriately, I was on the Painted World.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So
that's
very
excellent.
nice. Yeah, very nice parallels.
Yeah, good synergy there.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to say say a little bit about yourself and your relationship to Demon Souls?
Sure. So when I actually came to Demon Souls before Dark Souls and said, "What the fuck is this bullshit?" Sold it back to GameStop, and then I actually picked up Dark Souls, got like the necessary, I guess, skills required, if you will, and then I came back to Demon Souls, and I was like, "Wow, this isn't as much bullshit as I thought. In fact, it's really, really good."
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, I think by the problem that I had is I broke myself against 1, 2, and then all of World 2, and then I just was like, fuck this.
Mm.
Oh, so you're trying to proceed through them linearly?
Yeah, I was, because I just was like, I'm not going to look at anything online. That's for pussies.
Yeah. Man.
But if only I had started, in this world instead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something that I have noticed, and is like a common thread with a lot of people who came to Souls. Like the Souls games tend to be like those species of trees that can only like grow after a forest is burned down. Like it's just something that it's just a weird thing that rises from some weird second chance that you decide to give it. Yeah.
So, something happened too, like something that was. I don't know if this is a general Souls trajectory, but I always start out having a weird clear winner for my favorite area in a game, and then probably partly through doing the show, but also just kind of through replaying, like eventually just kind of grow to where I love all my children in the Soulsverse. So like this was definitely like as far as getting something out on the front, like this is probably my favorite area in Demon Souls, and having that kind of rope me in was really great. And then, when I go back and kind of like, okay, now I've got that out of the way, now I can start thinking about like what is cool about Stonefang and, et cetera. So it was definitely my favorite as well. And I think it's the one that has the kind of most immediate appeal.
Yeah, I would agree. And I really like 3.1. I like 3.2 even better.
Yeah.
Yep. And 3.3 has my favorite set piece in any Souls game.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, well, let's get to it. What did we do last time, Kole?
Well, last time, as we mentioned, we did 3-1. We beat the Fool's Idol in the cathedral at the end of the Prison of Hope, and we were whisked away by these crazy, helpful goblin gargoyle things up to the very top of the tower, hoping to, maybe see the sun at some point or get to the bottom of what's happening here. But instead, walking into what feels like maybe the cover of a King Crimson album.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a real Lovecraftian nightmare world of darkness and shit.
It's so
good. And we talk a lot of on Fireside Chat about Souls games worlds that look like they smell bad. This would smell like, so it's got the swamp part of it, so it smell like the Valley of Defilement or something. So there's plenty of just man scorpion shit and such on the ground. But also, I bet you it has that gross like Lovecraftian biology class smell.
Oh, like formaldehyde kind of stuff?
Yeah. Like, bad black science is being done here.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're burning wood in those torches either.
Yeah. You know what? Something that we didn't mention. So I went through and replayed the thing, played the game, or the level rather, before we got on, since it's been a while since I did it. And those like sconces in the first one, did you guys notice the faces in those?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
super
no,
spooky.
I didn't.
Why didn't we talk about that? All the smoke is coming from faces. Cole, you just said, like that was nothing. Like, there's faces.
Yeah, well,
it's not weird that we didn't. Like, I mean, that's just how sconces work.
There's just a lot of spooky in there. It didn't rise above the general ambient spookiness that is available in that place for me. So it's like, why not?
Super spooky.
Like in this episode, they're like there are going to be people crucified on wagon wheels. That rises above the spooky threshold.
I don't know if like faces extruding smoke. I think that that might raise above the spooky threshold for me.
Oh yeah.
Like I could do a crucifixion.
Yeah.
I'm up for one whenever. You just give me a call. But I couldn't create human faces that exude smoke.
Yeah. I don't know. Tomato. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, speaking of creepy, can we just talk about the walk up and the like initial impression that this level gives you? Because that's what just like almost immediately sold me.
Yeah, you're outside, but it is as oppressive as the inside of some place called the Prison of Hope.
Yeah. and it's at first I thought there was. I'm sorry about my dog, guys.
It's okay.
I thought there was music going on in the background, but it turns out that it wasn't actually music. And I was like, "What is that sound?" And because you can't quite see what's off in the distance yet.
Nope.
No. This it looks really intimidating, and this level is bigger than I thought it would be.
Mm-hmm.
You end up traveling to a wide expanse of things that is not initially evident. Like when you first get there, it's also like this isn't taking a template from anything. Like there's not a video game world that looks like this
right.
that I can think of. And there's swamps, but this top bit with the kind of the torches at night and just geometrically aligned spokes of platforms, kind of things. Like, I haven't really seen anything that looks like this.
The only thing I can really think of is like an early Castlevania, if it was 3D.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Like, that's, yeah.
Yeah. The thing that gets me most is kind of just this, if you look up and off in the distance, you're not even at the top level of this. Like, there's this huge armature of, like, chains that extend in these oddly geometric patterns above the entire place that you get the sense is holding all the towers upright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It kind of has like this web kind of geometry to it, which makes a sense for what it ultimately is. Like those gargoyles that carry you up. I mean, in Dark Souls, the equivalent is kind of confusing. Like, oh, there's some friendly gargoyles that we fight later. Here, though, like if before you came along and fucked shit up, if you were one of these dreglings that made it to worship the fool's idol, and you possibly won, she would come back, and your reward was getting brought up here to be turned into another kind of monster.
Yeah.
To like be turned into a gargoyle or one of the man scorpion things.
Yeah, the lucky ones are gargoyles.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Then you get to fly. You get a rare crossbow.
Yeah, but like those ones that come pick you up are like one of us.
Yeah.
Google gobble, Google gobble.
It's a living.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's super, like, the idea of you just being like a cog in the machine, like, you are an invader here, but they don't, necessarily know it. Like, this is what happens to people, is they get here and just get murdered by this unending series of soldiers. Yeah. And if they can make it, that's really cool to me.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like this is what they want. You happen to kill the Fool's Idol permanently. Maybe nobody up here knows that, though.
Yeah.
Because maybe to them there's no difference because that's why they lifted you up.
Yeah, you're being processed through this horrible machinery that is powered by the demon that has, like, overrun this place.
Yep.
Yeah.
Also, I like that I like the gargoyles. I think I've said this before on this season of the podcast, but flying enemies are something that I miss from Demon Souls. Like, they kind of move jankily, so I understand why they stopped doing them so much, but I like just the kind of camouflage aspect of it. The fact that you have to be checking your Z-axis, kind of consistently.
And they're kind of just perfectly colored for this level because there's a lot of, like, building shadows in the background. So, like, all you see, if you're looking really hard, sometimes all you can see is eyes.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's differentiating from the actual regular gargoyles too. Which, I don't know, it's kind of weird that he has regular gargoyles as well. Like, where's he getting those from?
It's kind of like in your house, you always leave like $100 bill by the front door so that if somebody breaks in, hopefully they'll grab that first.
Yeah, Or I imagine, like, he's talking to the robe, and the robe's like, what shape should we make the slaves in? And he's like looking around, like gargoyle. The same way if you're playing what am I looking at? The like game is in the car. Like, I'm thinking of something. It's a street sign. Yeah.
Oh, I Spy.
Yeah, I Spy. Yeah. Is it a blue car? Yeah.
Punch gargoyle.
Yeah. Is it a gargoyle? Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah. But those gargoyles are especially when you're just running by and one just like plops down in front of you. They work a little less well, and they're a little bit more frustrating when you're going up the chain towers on the outside, just because they struggle with following you vertically.
Yeah, a similar thing happens with those bugs we talked about in Stonefang, where, like, getting over a ledge. I had several, like, comical meetings with a gargoyle when it's trying to, like, lip this ledge to get to me, and I just can't quite do it. And I just have to walk to a flat plane so little buddy can get up and have a shot at it.
Yeah, and that's something we should speak about with this too. For 90% of this level, your footing is very unsure. Because you're on these really narrow walkways. For me, because I'm doing a meat cleaver playthrough this time around, I just am not used to my attacks moving me forward slightly. And I actually had an embarrassing death where I attacked myself off of a ledge.
I'm surprised that hasn't happened more than once, especially like when I did my meat cleaver playthrough. My bread and butter was that running R1. Mm-hmm. So I would and just get the drop on things because you one hit everything. Mm-hmm. But if you're defensively, you're not real strong. So several times I would kind of misjudge a jump and fall off. So
like the fact that there aren't railings kind of doesn't speak very highly of the kingdom before the old monk came.
The first order of business: remove all the railings.
Yes. We must feed the swamp.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So super creepy. I wonder if is that crossbow any good, because it's hard to get, like the gargoyle one.
What do you have to do to get it?
It's just a rare drop.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I wonder if it's any good, just because it is hard to find.
Yeah, I didn't even know you could get it, honestly. But there are so many like weird items in Demon Souls that I just didn't know you could get.
Yeah. So. Yeah, a lot of items here too. Like there's a good item for and part of the reason why you're not going to get that crossbow is almost every gargoyle drops a soldier's soul, which is that clue like we talked about last time.
Yeah, like unknown. So that they weren't especially of high stature or whatever.
Yeah, and also I get confused a little bit in this area on where to go. Several times, like in the beginning, you kind of just go the only way you can, but a lot of times you're not quite making leaps of faith or blind jump off of ledges, steps off of ledges, but you can't quite, because it's so dark and so grim, and there's so many like mystery stains on the ground. Knowing when you can jump down,
just slathered in blood,
and corpses just tend to fall off. Just you can use them as milestones in other levels, or Yeah, but not here.
Yeah, cool. They get caught on your ankle in that fun Souls game way.
Yeah.
Where you just walk and
Wild wacky gargoyle.
I got some mount up.
Yeah, but that and it's like on some of the spokes, it's really hard to tell what is a walkway and what's a buttress.
Yeah. I guess that's where I mean, where like you have to kind of make that jump off, and or step off, and you'll either land on a walkway or land on nothing, and on unobserved funeral.
Land on a lot of air and then suddenly ground.
Yeah, land on a succession of various airs.
Yes, probably some nitrogen in there, some argon.
All the elements.
Yeah, a real traveling Wilburys of your noble gases.
Yeah. Helium was so pissed. You can call him. It was like, I don't know. That nitrogen is the Jeff Lynne of air.
Is the Jeff Lynne of air.
A lot of that footing too, they use it against you constantly because there's tons of like tempting treasures.
Oh yeah.
Like on really shitty footing, especially around the lip of different towers. Yeah, where it's like you see it, it's kind of hidden by a jar, but the real trap is not like the hiding. It's really that it's like if you're careless at all when you try to go get it, you'll fall.
Have you guys ever managed to get the rune shield and sword?
I didn't know you could get it in this level.
Yeah. You have to drop. Okay, so when you are climbing the spiral staircase up the heart tower, it's right before you have the option to either go left to proceed to the rest of the level or go up towards the man-eaters. Like you drop off of a ledge there, and it's like outside. It's outside the building. I've looked at videos of how to get it. I've read how to do it. I've attempted several times because that is a very useful shield for this level. Yeah. However, I've never been able to stick it, and that is like the example of like a trap.
Treasure traps. Yeah. Weird choice to put that here, since you can. It's so prominently worn by another NPC, and you get it later.
Yeah.
It
might be a clue about where he's been or where he's from too.
Yeah.
I mean, just so you can put it together.
Well, Rydell's here, and that's from the same family, so that, I guess, makes a kind of sense, even though I don't think Rydell made it quite this far. Maybe the corpse... No, it's not the Rydell's corpse, because we know where Rydell's corpse is. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Cole just dropped a reference to something called a heart tower, and we haven't talked about that yet.
Well, we talked about the arrhythmic beating that makes it sound like you're playing Eternal Darkness throughout this entire level. But you walk up to this the centerpiece of the level, which is this place that has a gigantic, what appears to be kind of human heart. It's a heart that is, it's gigantic.
Murph suffers from a rare condition. Like he's cardio monsterism runs in his family.
Well, no, he did too many good deeds. He returned those kids. He returned those kids Christmas gifts.
Yeah, and he just keeps doing it.
Like five Christmases in a row.
He's an optimizer.
He's got a heart as big as all outdoors. Literally, you should stop.
Oh man!
Yeah, but it's suspended by these chains, and it is the freakiest set piece. And I mean, aside from the chair mountain, but
it's so good. Like it's so creepy when you see it, and it's so non-threatening. Mm-hmm. You can run into it and cut it, and it bleeds, and nothing happens.
Yeah,
like this level has a couple of different examples of this, like, this non-threatening, scary thing.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like when we get to the tentacles, I was like, I'm not going to touch these tentacles.
Well, that's a hilarious like double thing too, because I'm like, I'm not going to touch the tentacles, and then I'm kept testing, getting closer and closer. Oh my god, I touched the tentacles, nothing happened. I bet you if I climb up these tentacles, I'll get something. Nope. Like, you just go up them, and then you have to make your way. There's one that goes high enough that you die if you fall from it, and it just kind of, like, slowly lilts back and forth, and you have to, like, tiptoe your way down, or it falls from under you. Like, even souls.
There are a couple of hints about this. The thing that is blocking your way up to the where the boss is, it's a blood vessel, and like these blood vessels are working its way entirely through here. So is the conjecture that this is the heart of the old monk, or is that or is that a bit too much of a leap?
So I don't know. So like one thing that's true is that the man scorpion things come out of it when it falls. So, like, you can think that maybe that this is, like, some kind of, like, creation engine. for that. So like maybe this is where the people go, and then they come out as gargoyles. Like this is just a big organic machine.
Yeah.
Is being used. I mean, it definitely looks like a heart. I'm not saying it's not a heart, but like I don't know what it belongs to, because when you slay it or what have you, nothing happens other than just being able to get up to the old monk. It doesn't seem to affect the old monk in any way.
Right.
You know.
Well, he does die before you fight him.
I think he's been dead for a long time though. Before you fight him, like that, he's desiccated. And
yeah. I just realized, or looked up so I can actually clarify my reference on what this reminds me of. But the horrifying, non-threatening thing, like the best example of that that I can think of. This reminds me of the glutton in Silent Hill 3. If anybody has played that game, it's the kind of final boss of the hilltop the hilltop center level. It's like this just horrifying. Like if you look at the video of it, it's the worst possible thing, but it is no threat to you. So I wanted to make a reference to that in case that would resonate with somebody.
Yeah. No, I haven't played that game yet. I want to. I just haven't. I've been meaning to do a dive on that series and just haven't had time. Yeah. But I like that. Everything I hear about it sounds good. So.
And the dog agrees.
What's your dog's name, Murph?
Riker and Vash.
Okay, that's okay. Good one. Good point, Riker.
Hold on.
Number one. Yeah, the bridge.
To round out the segment of the podcast where Kole just talks about things that he likes, the whole notion of the gigantic body parts being strewn about a Lovecraftian castle dungeon just reminds me of the "It's All Your Fault" episode of Adventure Time.
Yeah.
The castle lemon grab.
Yeah.
Oh, is that the one where I'm shamefully not as up on Adventure Time as I should be. Is that the one where the heart kidnaps the princess?
No, that's Ricardio.
He's Ricardio, yeah.
He's Ricardio, the heart guy, voiced by what's his name? George
the president of the internet. Yeah,
the president for life, George Takei.
Facebook. New Facebook honorary CEO, George Takei. No, this is a later one. I won't spoil it.
No,
but it's moving.
Yeah,
like I find this episode genuinely really moving. Yeah. So
just like everything with Lemon Grab can be. Except for
I don't think the first episode.
Yeah, the first
is
one. No.
Yeah, it's just funny, but he later becomes like that's the secret strength of that show. Yeah. So eventually, you make your way up that a different kind of tower, and you find this group of dreglings worshiping, like kind of maintaining the spell on a torch or a sconce.
Yeah,
so good. Like when I came up on this, I was like and then I was like, immediately, it was like, this is D&D as fuck.
Yeah,
these prisoners wearing these masks, worshiping this orb.
Yeah, D&D is full of orb worshippers.
Yeah,
it's and they're non-threatening. You kill them, and then the chain falls, and like you kind of, in a weird way, it's video gamey. It's like, okay, I have to kill all the sets of worshippers to knock down all the chains. But, mercifully, you only do it twice.
Yeah.
It's not like a Zelda dungeon where you'd, like, go find the 4 things and solve a succession of puzzles to do it. Like, you just do it twice. And it's more or less just a linear path from one to the other.
Yeah. Do they ever make an attempt to defend themselves?
No.
Okay.
No, they don't stop worshiping.
Yeah.
I actually kind of felt a little bad.
Yeah. Unlike that, the liar in the last level, who's like, just fuck that guy.
Yeah.
But these guys, it's actually a little bit, and especially since they don't stop. Like, what happens to them if they stop?
Is this the point we want to talk about the White World Tendency event, which is probably the least impressive White World Tendency event?
Yeah, it's right there.
Yeah. Only good people get this tiny piece of stone.
Yeah.
Or it's like a piece of wood.
Yeah.
It's not even stone.
It's like a plank.
Yeah.
It's not even laid straight. It's kind of a sconce.
Haphazardly.
A good plank or a bad plank?
They got the lowest bidder.
Yeah. Latria contractors.
It's a living.
Yeah, that'll be our band.
Oh god, that plank could be someone transformed as an experiment.
Right, most likely is, yeah. Like Soul Blazer, where like everything.
Yeah.
Oh, that plank's asleep and you can jump into its dream.
Yeah. that's how you get the key to Rydell.
Yeah.
So which we talked about Rydell last time, but his key, they hit it in this really confusing spot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But though I do say if you do climb up the tower, I think this is probably the highest point in the level, and you can look down and you notice all like the little points of light. And at first I was like, oh, it's just like clever background stuff. But no, that's actual individual like light sources that you can go visit. And it's really neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
In that especially Soulsy way of anything you can see, you can get to, with a couple of exceptions. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you head down, and next we're going to run into a major NPC on the way. There's kind of a little area with Augites of Guidance leading you to Yurt, the silent chief.
Yurt's holding a little rave in the cage.
Yeah.
Yurt rave.
So
yeah, Yurt. He's in a cage. It's a cage evader. It's like one of the patented like Souls games cage evaders. Yeah, and he introduces himself as someone who wants to slay demons.
Uh-huh.
And I murdered him because I played Dark Souls. No joke. I'm just like, I know how these guys think. This guy's a jerk too.
Yeah.
Oh man. Though I think if you let him free, eventually he will start murdering NPCs. But the first NPC he murders, you don't actually see, so it's okay.
Yeah. They give you. It's such a fucking Soulsian kind of thing for them to do, where like they give you the hint, but it's like the fucking barest of hints.
Yep.
While out of every other side of their mouth, like saying the opposite.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to help you.
Well, that and also the first time you talk to him, I believe in the Nexus, he finishes his little speech by saying, "Life is hardly as precious as one might think."
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. No one has that opinion.
You look like Darth Vader. You sound like Gray Fox.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
You twirled your mustache somehow through your helmet?
Yeah. Fucking Lautrec. I one of the reasons why I wanted to kill him is because I like his armor.
Yeah.
Like I think it looks cool, and I like it better than I like Lautrec's armor. Mm-hmm. I don't wear the helmet, but I like the chest piece a lot.
Yeah. It gives you gives you nice resistances, especially if you're headed towards 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he's a member of I think is it the Order of Souls?
Yes.
Yeah, the Order of Souls, which like when we ran into that like assassin character earlier, he's part of the same thing. And there's another major NPC that ties into this, Mephistopheles, not Bono's alter ego, but the Demon Souls character.
Yeah. Thanks for the clarification.
Yeah. Well, I just I clarified that part instead of clarifying Bono's like alter ego from the Zooropa. Sure. We're going to talk about her later because I don't think have you done her quest line, Murph?
I have not. It's so hard to like. If I didn't have the Wikipedia, I would have no idea she existed.
Yeah. She's really well hidden. None of us have done it, so I think we're going to come back to it a little bit later when we're doing some Nexus stuff when one of us has experienced it firsthand.
Yeah.
But Yurt's still a guy, and he kills NPCs.
Yeah. So he just starts working his way up the chain. So he kills Frakes Apprentice. I said that weird. I'm sorry. Then he does, and then he does Patches, and then the mathematicians, then the firemen, and so on in that fashion until he kills you.
Yeah. And they're useful. Like one thing to note is that these games have never Souls games don't have like tons of useful NPCs. Like in the Nexus, there's like 3 people who aren't shops.
Yeah,
everyone is a shop, and those are not the people he kills. He only kills shops, and they don't come back.
Yeah, yeah.
The fight. I assume you tried and stop him by killing him, which unless you use harsh language or I don't know what else.
Sending him to the other side. Yeah.
The fight's not terribly hard when I did it with my magic user, at least. I have never fought him with like a melee build though.
Yeah. You can backstab him like twice before he gets angry.
Yeah, you get a couple of cherry taps in, but he's using that Shodol. So if you have a shield character, that's kind of useless. So you have to get used to circle strafing him.
Yeah. Yep. But not too tough. And again, like any time in this game when you find really heavy armor, like try to have room for it.
Yeah. Otherwise, it will go away forever. And like in this instance, so I always opt to kill him in the Nexus just because there is more there's more sure footing, honestly.
Yeah.
Like you have a nice big area in which to hurt him, as opposed to having that narrow pedestal, and also because I never knew those two guys that he killed, so it didn't really matter.
Fuck those guys.
Fuck those guys. What'd you ever do for me? You didn't like turn my demon soul into any cool spells.
Yeah, you're not gonna sell me anything.
Yeah.
We didn't unlock them. They're secret shopkeepers.
Yeah.
For the DLC.
Oh yeah. They're from the 6th Artstone.
Yeah, exactly. Hello, what did we miss?
We just fixed the Artstone, guys. We've got the secret for this one here.
Land of the Giant. So a real dickheady thing for From to do to have, just a character that just kills all your shops.
Yeah.
Who professes to help you. That's pretty funny. And they tone that down, obviously, with Lautrec.
Yeah.
Where Lautrec just kills one, very useful, but just one NPC.
He just takes away your primary safe haven.
Yeah, but like, in retrospect, playing that, there's like a bunch of really close. Safe
you
havens,
just go to the parish,
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Yeah, it's. I mean, at least with Lautrec, there's like a quest line and something to do. Well, I guess with Memphis, you have to kill him. So
it's a weird.
Never mind. Yeah,
it's a weird thing.
Yeah,
it is hard to get to, but it's very very soulsy and stuff. Somebody, I think it might have been Vatty, like one of the Souls commentators had like a tweet where they're just like, it would be a pro move on From Software's part to take their Solaire equivalent for Dark Souls 2 and put him in a pointy helmet and have him standing near a ledge, because people will immediately kick him off without talking to him.
Yeah, it just starts subverting everybody's expectations.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so happy with that. But assuming, however you deal with him, you're essentially attempting to try to find one of these, these elevators, and you get down to the swamp level.
Yeah.
Of things.
You free him from something he was presumably trapped in. Then you step into the very same thing yourself and close the door behind you.
But you can open it.
Yeah.
It just opens, dude.
You've passed the first test.
He won't put down his shoulders. He can't.
The fact that even if it was locked, and the fact that you can open it, he could just reach through the bars.
It locks from the outside, is what I assume.
No, but
that's what we're saying,
right? Well, that's what I'm saying. He could reach through the bars. Well, he's got those shoulders. You can't do that. You try.
They curve back, so he could easily. It'd be easier to pick the lock with those. He has hooks.
Yeah, I assume it's because his elbows are close into his body, and he can't get the angle on it.
He's got T-Rex arms.
Yeah.
Oh man.
That's what I assume.
The plight of Yurt.
Maybe he's not trapped and he just doesn't want to go down to Blood Swamp.
Yeah.
Because he's like, have you been down there? I'll hang out in the safety cage. Thank you. Blood Swamp sucks, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that trip is so long.
Yeah.
What's going to happen? What's going to happen?
That's awesome. That's an awesome part of it. I noticed that too. And again, just Silent Hill, that Silent Hill 2 thing when you're constantly going down that flight of stairs. And also, there's a Lovecraft story where the protagonist gets lowered into a pyramid. And then the people who kidnapped him, drop the rope on him. Mm-hmm. And the rope just keeps falling until it piles up to his waist.
Yeah.
It's just you have been dropped miles into the earth, Super cool moment.
They do something like that in House of Leaves, where they go down this gigantic spiral staircase. One of them at the top just drops a quarter to figure out how deep it was, and they did the math and figured that it drops something like 5 times the Earth's diameter, something like that. Over the course of the time that one of them went down, it stretched that far. And it's shit.
Yeah.
I just want to. I want to capture a video of this, and then start going down and just have it go for a little bit too long, and then just bring in the Snake Eater theme song. Yeah, and then when it finishes, you land in the Blood Swamp. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I have a that kind of, speaking of dropping things, I have a funny little PvP. Well, I'll tell it later. That's fine.
Okay.
Talking about blood swamps.
Swamps. Yes. So this thing just drops you into shin deep blood, effluvium. Like I don't like it's almost a little bit too purple or pinkish to be blood, but like that's the closest equivalent that I can think of.
It's what comes out of a boil.
It's yeah,
it's that weird pus blood mixture.
Yeah.
That you get sometimes.
It's gross.
Yeah.
It's birthing juice. Like every time one of those, one of these creatures comes out of the heart, it just brings tons of the way that babies are born with that wax on them and stuff. That's what this is.
Yeah, which you can then harvest to use as a base in expensive perfumes.
Yeah, exactly. Yep, use every part.
Yep.
And down here, did you guys find the big massive souls? Thing?
Yeah.
Like there's another one of those just kind of hanging out.
Yeah.
Hey guys.
Fucking catamariing down here.
Like a bowl. It was like a bolus of food that was like spit out by some other part of this beast. So I love to think that like all of Latria's ground level is like this, kind of like how in the first episode of the Jetsons they established that the surface of the Earth is blasted and uninhabitable.
I do not remember the first episode of the Jetsons at all.
Well, no, I
don't know if you're joking or if it is a.
No, they actually do. They allude to the fact that I've never seen it firsthand, but I just know from reading about the Jetsons that in the first episode they establish.
Yes, you do.
Elroy fights off a man scorpion as they get onto the final suitcase bus.
They establish that the reason everybody lives in these futuristic stilt houses in the upper atmosphere is because the surface of the Earth is a blood swamp.
I never even realized they were on Earth in the Jetsons. Yeah. Like I was just like, oh, space Flintstones. Okay, no thanks. Like that's the extent of my interaction. Like and you just said man scorpions. They're not man scorpions, but the reason why I'm saying man scorpions is because that's the villain of the Dragon Strike board quest game.
Yeah,
is a man scorpion, and that's what I keep thinking of with these guys.
I had that, and later in life though, like in college, mostly for the video.
Oh yeah,
the video is one of very influential to me.
Oh
as a human and as a father. But they're man centipedes.
Yes, which man scorpion makes a little bit more sense because that's actually what they physiologically resemble.
Yeah, and they sting you.
Yeah, they got that stinger.
Yeah. They're not too bad. Like I always found that I could kill them. My first hit would usually kill both of them, like them and their little weird mini version.
Hey, boss! Look, a little guy's coming.
Yeah. Like, hey, boss! It's a royal. Let's get him.
Yeah. I had more trouble with these guys as my caster than as my meat cleaver dude. But
I could see that.
I guess my meat cleaver dude is a lady.
Yeah.
So meat cleaver lady.
I guess I think if you use the soul arrow, you can kind of go through one and it goes through to the other side. So it's kind of lining up that angle correctly.
Mm-hmm. You can actually do it with anything. Like the like anything that does enough damage to one will carry over into the other.
Oh, okay.
So like I'll just hit it with a well-powered weapon, and it will kill both of them. It's weird. We didn't talk about soul arrow, but that was Jeremy pointed out on our Facebook that we forgot to mention what you can do with the old the doll soul. Mm-hmm. Which has got a really good version of it's. What is it called? It's not Soul Arrow.
It's Soul Ray. I have that in the errata, actually.
Yeah, that's real good, and it's very useful here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But like cutting their tails off, which you can do, doesn't take away their most annoying attack, which is this acid breath that will just destroy your equipment.
Yeah, they don't do that to me very often. Like they usually try to sting me, so I've only seen the acid attack like a couple times.
Yeah. I think it's just a function of having to fight them in relatively close quarters that I had it trigger for me probably more often than the average.
Makes sense.
But yeah. But yeah, you're good.
Oh, we're just going to say this is where those tentacles, like we don't have very much more to say about them, but this is where they're in effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so creepy.
There's more tone than gameplay down here, or just those implications. You're walking around on these boardwalks, and you've got these bodies that are crucified on wagon wheels, which now we know where the bone wheels come from.
Yeah. Yeah.
Age in a blood swamp for 10,000 years.
Yes. Add salt to taste. Yeah. Also, you get the ring of disease resistance down here.
Yeah.
Which is invaluable.
Yeah.
There's also a fragrance ring in the swamp as well.
Which is very useful. Like if you didn't start with a royal, like that thing's great. Yeah. I never end up because disease. There's only like a couple places where you can get diseased. Like it sucks when it happens, but like, is the resistance? Is it worthwhile? Like I've never used the ring.
No, it's like in 5.2, 5.3.
Well, 5.1 has it too because there's the plague rats.
Yeah.
There.
Just in general, it's nice to be able to switch back and forth between that and the poison ring. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've never used the disease one. Like, I just always I didn't want to fuck around in my equipment.
Yeah,
to make it worth it.
So the way that I looked at it was, even though disease wasn't that prevalent, if I got it, there was no guarantee I'd be able to load us up. So it was just like I used it as an insurance policy almost. Yeah.
That makes sense. Like I think that disease had like the times I got it in my first playthrough were kind of traumatic enough to where I just have hardwired where it happens, and I'm just very careful about it. So I just okay, well this is where I need to be extra cautious and make sure I don't get hit.
Yeah, and I've only ever had the one playthrough aside from this one, and I haven't done 5.1, 2, or 3.
Yeah,
yet, so
it's off topic in the sense that like on a second playthrough, it really 5.2 is not as bad as it seems.
No.
No, it's excruciating really, the first time.
Yeah,
excruciating.
I liken it to going through a survival horror game for the second time. Like the space really does contract with knowledge, and you're not nearly as tenuous. I apologize for cutting you off.
No, that's fine. And really, I found because I was doing all the world tendency events, like in 5.2, you can literally, if you equip the thieves ring, you can just avoid all of the islands and all of the monsters and just kind of do a beeline to like 5.3.
Yeah, and which is how I do that now.
Yep.
Like I don't want to fuck around with that shit. So you pretty much start making your way up. Like just one of the boardwalks connects to this, the bottom of the tower, and you kind of start crawling around. You get more of these tentacles. You get more of these man centipedes, and there's a couple treasures, a couple crystal lizards. So if you're doing magical upgrade material, you're going to get quite a bit. And then on your way up, you start running. This is when you run into the first Black Phantom Mind Flare.
Yeah. I hate these.
Yeah,
so shitty. At least here you have like a little cubby that you can dodge into, right?
That later encounter that Kole, when he said at least here, what he's contrasting that with is one of the most fucking
worst.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Like there's no way to outsmart that. Like I always try. And it's just like, oh, well, I'll hit him with arrows from a distance. Nope. Like, he's just going to run towards me until, Like, and they're just like, unless you have a really high damage output weapon, they just do so much damage. And they have so many hit points. And
so hard to stagger. And
yeah. Exactly. Yeah, that staggering is a good point, because I've definitely had a lot of times where I'm just kind of jamming on the R1, like, okay, I can't, because you can't block that. Grab attack. So I'm just kind of jamming on the R1, just seeing like a race against time, hoping to stagger him or kill him before he manages to do it. And they always have more hit points than I imagine they will. Yeah. So, yeah. Yep.
Oof. Yeah. So here it's bad, but not too bad. But later on, like right before the end of this stage, it's pretty bad.
Yeah,
I'd probably say like the most inconvenient Black Phantom in the game, possibly, aside from what's her name in 5.2, the one that just pops up if you walk into the wrong leg of the swamp.
Yeah. But, she's pretty bad.
Yeah.
The trio of Black Phantoms that in 1.4 is also tough. Like they're not badly placed. They're just, you have to get through them, and they're hard.
Yeah, I just see them as mini bosses. So in the analysis, I lose the fact that they're Black Phantoms.
Yeah.
And they don't come back, I don't think.
No, they don't respawn.
No. Yeah, like this. Every time every time I got to re-kill or got to go fight Maneater again, fucking Red Phantom mini boss.
It's useless your first time through, but does the banish spell work on NPC Black Phantoms?
I don't think so.
Okay.
That's a good question. I don't know the absolute answer to, but I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because I remember reading the spell description. That, like many spell descriptions, where I'm like, oh, this is something I'll never use, and then just like putting it away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you climb up this tower, and you're going up to the second chain to kill the next group of worshippers, and you do so. It's just like the other one. You fight some gargoyles. There's some elevators, blah blah blah. Really elaborate, like pretty elevators that kind of show what this world might have looked like before it went to before they installed the blood swamp.
Yeah,
after it really went to shit once we let the blood swamp move in.
Yeah,
we had these gilded elevators with beautiful geometric patterns and this nice church. And
we installed the blood swamp for the kids, but now they never swim in it. It's awful.
So it was good Arby's and a Pan Express that still had ragoons and
ragoons.
The crab ragoons. But the heart
rangoons. Okay,
sorry. Rangoons. Yeah,
sorry.
Yep.
Ragu.
Yeah, I was thinking like pasta sauce at Panda Express.
Yeah, man. Keep Portland weird. So the heart drops, and it lands with this like big wet gross thud. Yeah, and just tons of these man centipedes crawl out.
Yes, and just like a horrifying notion. Like you figure if you cut yourself sufficiently deep and like worms crawl out. Like that particular meth inspired daymare. Yeah. Like pretty scary.
Yeah. Real spooky.
Yeah. Well, Latria's vet should have prescribed him some pills for those heart scorpions.
It's a dog heart. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
There we go.
It's Great Dane.
Yeah.
The greatest Dane.
Clifford, the big red dog.
Oh my God! Somebody vivisected Clifford.
Hello, my dear. I've come back from Tails, and I've brought us this pet. Let me change into my robe and go to sleep.
Is it okay? So it's Martin Short who's the main character of this story, right?
Yeah. Desiccated Martin Short. Yeah. The old monk is too tall to be Martin Short.
Oh Lord!
Let's cast all the Demon Souls bosses as SCTV members. Yeah.
Oh, Maiden Astray as Rick Moranis.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, we got the adjudicator as John Candy, and so yeah. Anywho,
Ralphie May is the boss of 5-1.
Oh yeah. Skeleton out front. So I told you. Yeah. So anyway, so this is where I get a little bit confused. Like the level opens up.
Yeah. So
you can go everywhere, but you don't want to.
You don't really have to. So there's a shortcut that drops you off back towards the beginning, and you can make a nice little Archstone run if you need to. But really, like all you have to do is either go down to where the heart dropped, and get a couple of items, or go up to the new pathway that opened up. I got confused initially because it's not apparent that big blood vessel goes away that was blocking you before.
I guess that's part of my point. Is like where to go, where the pathway opened is not evident.
Right. And the video game logic said, okay, the cutscene showed me the heart bursting up. Clearly, I need to get inside the heart.
Yeah. Which you should, because there's cool stuff down there.
Right.
But it's not the way forward. The other thing too is that for a little while there's guys I haven't killed yet, so that's where I should go. Kind of works, but the actual path that goes up to the man-eaters doesn't have that. Like the scorpions kind of thin out.
Right.
And so I almost every time I end up running around a little bit before I figure out what I need to do.
Yeah. If you go down to where to where the heart is, you pick up a couple of items. The most notable of which, from a lore perspective, is the golden mask and the EP rapier. Yeah, it's like
the saber sword.
Yeah.
Or the cutlass knife.
Yeah. But I believe that those are specifically noteworthy just because that is kind of the garb of this Order of Souls. The people who want to wipe the soul arts off of the earth. So
Mephistopheles drops them. So it's definitely like that's what she wears.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
So do we want to speculate like why the soul arts, the Order of Soul or what have you, have their targets set on this area at this point?
I mean, all of the sorcery happening.
The only thing I could think of is like this is the only, other than King Allant, this is the only human boss, if you will. So this is the only like bad person, like specifically bad person practicing soul arts. I mean, there's probably an argument for Sage Frake and
Uria.
But yeah.
I that's why like you both just said your things combined were what my thought was, where it's like there is a lot of sorcery, but there's also what makes this different than the Shrine of Storms and the tunnels is that there's an agent here.
Yeah.
Like there's something doing something, and even you could also argue Main Estrella, who's really passive. Like this is one of the two areas that has like kind of an active antagonist.
Yeah, like a working, like some kind of weird perverted working kingdom that has a figurehead behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like theoretically they could be working to spread the soul arts. Like he doesn't notably, Sage Frake isn't killed. Rydell is captured. So it's Rydell has these kind of magical weapons. So it's possible that he wants them for research.
Yeah, yeah.
He's sort of the Seath, but without the reach.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. His Seath exceeded his grasp. But yeah. So it's it's the demon who's behind it. I mean, the demon as embodied by the yellow cloth that is that's running the show here.
Well, yeah, I don't necessarily mean I guess like whatever they became. Like I understand that that's the actual antagonist, but the even you look at the Storm King, like it's a demon, but it just wants to feed. Like it's not an intelligence. It's not setting up a thing.
Mm-hmm. It's not searching for new hosts.
And Estrella is just chilling.
Yeah, yeah.
The swamp chilling with a bunch of creepy fucking babies.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
so if you had to drink a shot of any of the swamps in the Souls game, which one would you choose?
the one from 5-3, because that would end it the quickest.
Good answer.
Yeah. Like, I'd want to die anyway, and you might as well kill two me's with one shot.
So if you make your way up, you do this one little set piece that we were talking about with the Black Phantom. On this would be hard even without the Black Phantom there. Yeah. This really narrow staircase with no rails that goes on forever.
Yeah.
But putting that Black Phantom there is fucking diabolical. Like and we talked about it a little bit, but just like if anybody hasn't played it or just to refresh anyone's memory, like what we're talking about, it's so tricky.
Yeah. Like this doesn't quite rise to the level of like the Arrow Knights.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like still, this is like the most frustrating like fight because it's like there's nothing really you can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
it's not. No, go ahead.
A mark in its favor is that the run to it is relatively short. A mark against it is in front of one of the hardest bosses in the game, so you're going to have to do it multiple times. And because so much of it falls to chance, I genuinely can't say what has killed me more, this thing or the man-eaters.
Yeah, I would argue probably. No, probably about it. I'd argue it is the hardest boss in the game. Yeah. At least for me. Like
I believe that. In my heart of hearts, but everybody has problems with different things. So.
Yeah, I also had troubles with the man-eater.
Yeah.
So okay.
Well, let's talk man-eaters here.
Yeah.
Whoa, here they come.
If you don't want to talk man-eaters, you can cheese them because of the weird way that fog doors work differently.
Yeah.
Like you can just shoot the first one with arrows if you suck, and you're a coward. You can do that.
Yeah, it takes I watch videos of people trying it, and like there's some of the few Let's Plays that I've seen people edit sections out of because of how long it takes.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting the way that kind of came back in Dark Souls with like poisoning the Capra or shooting Manus.
Yeah.
You can kind of do that kind of shit in other than the later games too.
Yeah.
But you shouldn't do that. You should be a man and fight this really hard boss because you'll feel better. You'll feel so good when you finish it. And I feel good every time I do it. Like it is always tense and always like I win by the skin of my teeth.
Yeah.
And it's like if someone described this boss to me, like, okay, so you're fighting this like, is it a manticore?
It's a gargoyle kind of thing.
Gargoyle.
Yeah, like a big nasty gargoyle.
And then like suddenly another one just shows up and you're like, you got to fight that one too. I'm like, man, that sounds really cool.
Yeah, but it
not actually.
No.
Yeah. It is So it's interesting too the way that this is so much harder than the Bell Gargoyles.
Yeah.
But because I played Demon Souls first, like they're kind of equivalent my first run through. You know, like I thought the Bell Gargoyles is like if I try this without help, this is impossible. Like there's no way I can beat this without Solaire. And now I can do it no problem. Like that's a really pretty easy boss. And this, like, it felt like the same kind of thing when I got to it, even though it's way later in the game, with all of my experience. Like it had scaled to my experience of difficulty, if that makes sense.
And I think the reason maybe the Bell Gargoyles isn't quite as tough, and maybe not entirely, but there's just more room to move with the Bell Gargoyles.
Yeah, that's a big part of it.
Like here, it's just it's not like a narrow platform, but there's not a lot. Like there's like one dodge or one roll's length.
Yeah, well, and they have those attacks that are designed to knock you off.
Yeah.
Like they want you to fall off. They're also like way more aggressive than the gargoyles. Like that second gargoyle shows up in the Bell Gargoyle. He walks like a couple steps, breathes some fire at no one in particular. Yeah. Like, you know, he's pretty chill about this. These guys are gunning for you like nobody's business.
The second one's die at Bell Gargoyle, you know.
Yeah.
but die at Bell Gargoyle 0. But like the thing that gets me about it is just you know, if you're not managing your distance from them, they just like disappear for like huge swaths of time, and they can take pot shots at you from like a real distance. It's a terrible ranged encounter, but they can just fly away, and there's a huge asymmetry in, you know, who can do damage to who, right?
Yeah, and I think the idea there is that you're supposed to be dealing with one of them doing that rain, because I've definitely had that situation where the first one flies away, and then the second one gets triggered. And then I'm dealing with one doing melee while the other one's taking pot shots at me. Yeah. And that's hard.
And there's no real like safe spot like a lot of the other bosses. Like there just isn't.
Yep. And then Demon Souls, so the aggression of this first one that comes at you is, you know, almost Capra-esque, where it's like you don't have any real room to dodge, and he's just going to stay on you. Whereas Demon Souls so far has shown itself to be like a relaxed boss fight kind of thing.
Yeah, Flame Lurker aside.
Yeah, exactly. The Flame Lurker is the closest like analog to it, and I would say probably the second hardest boss if you don't come equipped for it. Mm-hmm. Like a melee Flame Lurker without flame resistant stuff is probably the second hardest boss, I think. Yeah. So very, very difficult. And there's no real trick to it either. Like it's also like a pretty fair fight. You just have to be good. Like time your dodges well. The one little bit of mercy is that like if you get far enough away from them, it takes them a while to get to you. So you can always run to the other side of the platform to heal, which is what I would do. Yeah, pretty consistently.
Yeah, this is another one of those bosses that has two targeting nodes on it. You can target their tails and take them off, which I'm sure millions of people wish you could do for Seath or Priscilla. And if you take the tails off, they're noticeably weaker because they have fewer attacks that are available to them. They can't charge themselves up because their charge up involves the tail biting the gargoyle itself. And a really awesome kind of thing.
Yeah, they're like hulking out, like human style.
They're going Super Saiyan.
And unlike Demon Soul or Dark Souls, you don't get anything for doing it. Like this is before, but you can kind of almost see them testing out the idea. Mm-hmm. You know, like let's give somebody something for doing this thing that's optional and pretty neat. Just heal. The hardest build that I had with these guys was my 2-hander no shield.
Yeah.
Like that was really tricky because they have a lot of damage output. They can knock you down really easily. And just the fact that there's no poise just comes in to effect again, where it's like you can't really get hit.
Right.
You know, like you have to avoid getting hit. You can't attack through anything.
Yeah.
And makes these guys tough.
I've got a shock of white hair from doing this with the meat cleaver.
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's fucking congrats.
It is significant. Like with Magic, it's not easy, but it is significantly easier.
Yeah.
The thing when I did my Magic playthrough, the hardest part was the fact that like I would need to heal and then also recharge my Magic, so I ended up having to spend more kind of downtime, and I would get interrupted more often or kind of get assaulted while trying to eat an herb, chew on some grass, and like. But so eventually you get through them, and like congratulations, like it's easy from here on out for the most part, or easier boss wise.
What does their soul? I forget what their soul makes.
An incredibly useless item called the Needle of Eternal Agony, which should be great.
Sounds cool, yeah.
Yeah. So just another fuck you. Like, nope.
Kind of, yeah. Like it's one of those weird, like, maybe PvP items, but not really. It's a dagger that like takes like 20 souls away from whatever you're killing per hit. Yeah,
which is nothing. Like,
yeah,
you can kill a bonus Dragling for.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you drop a penny, you shouldn't bend down to pick it up because the calories that you expend actually cost more than a penny.
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yep,
yeah.
The yeah, and there's no spells or anything. I don't think.
No,
for them.
No. It's you literally should just chug this immediately.
Yeah, just chug it.
Yeah,
looks like a fishing hook. Actually,
it looks awesome, right? I mean,
yeah.
And its item description is great. It's like perhaps it's symbolic of the man-eater's relationship between its tail and itself, or something. As I said at the beginning of this episode, when you were wondering what that crazy heartbeat sound was and not worrying, oh god, that crazy heartbeat sound is actually a heart. Today's episode is brought to you by Audible.com, and for you, our dear listener, Audible is offering a free audiobook download with a free 30-day trial to give you the opportunity to check out their service. To download your free audiobook today, go to audibletrial.com/bonfiresidechat. Again, that's audibletrial.com/bonfiresidechat for your free audiobook.
So that's it. We're up to our stone. We're getting ready to fight the archdemon.
Oh man.
We talked about the white tendency event, black tendency. There's some more giant man centipedes and the primeval demon that's always around, big useless lump.
Yeah.
But nothing too noteworthy. And then you get to 3-3, which is one of the longer run-ups.
Yeah.
Of a which I think, and the reason why is because there's the mechanical need for a delay here.
Yeah.
Like if you could just walk right into the fog door, there wouldn't be any time for the boss to trigger its gimmick. Mm-hmm. So these kind of these man centipedes and the mind flayers you have to fight on the way are there to slow you down. Mm-hmm. So the game can search.
So I tried for an hour yesterday and an hour today to become the yellow monk, and no luck.
Yeah. Let's talk about the monk a little bit and then talk about the gimmick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or let's talk about the gimmick.
Yeah.
So in this, I love this.
Yeah, is. Like inspired is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. This is such a good idea. Like if you're going to go through, like we talked about it a little bit. Or we talk about it a little bit all the time, but I think something we take for granted is how just like amazing the idea of invasions and the multiplayer in these Souls games is. Mm-hmm. And to have them kind of turn that on its head and fold it into the story in this way, in a way that I think is kind of stronger than the ways it folds in Dark Souls. Like you have the black eye orb in Dark Souls, but that's not as, I don't like that as much as this.
Right.
This is so cool.
This is like 10-year-old Murph's dream, where he was like, "What if every Nintendo cartridge there's an actual secret cartridge, and there's somebody controlling all of the bosses?"
Yeah,
that's a great idea. Mm-hmm. Like that's really cool. So somebody write a creepypasta about that, like if they haven't already, because that's
so
cool
weird.
Idea.
I bought this at a flea market from a guy who
was selling gremlins.
Hyper-realistic blood
coming out of the cartridge. Mom gets mad at me for stealing my Kool-Aid, but no, Mom, it's cartridge blood.
Yeah, Super Mario 3 just has this fake-looking blood, but yeah. So what he does is he summons another player. Like if you try to do any invasion mechanic. While you're hanging out in 3-2 or 3-3, you have the chance to get sucked into and become the boss for this thing, which is just super super cool. Mm-hmm. I have not been able to become the old monk, and not for lack of trying. Like I've tried a bunch, and I just don't know if the community's not big enough or what's going on.
Well, it's bizarre because I've never fought the NPC version of this. So there are people out there. It might just be that there are more invaders than people fighting the old monk.
Yeah.
So like the one I also was like, all right, well if I can't be the monk, I'll try and fight some PvP. The one time it actually triggered, the guy had the soul orb
Well,
Thing that
they
floats?
they're equipped with that.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like
Yeah,
they get that as wearing the mantle. Like that comes with that is the boss of the level helping out the PvP character.
Yeah.
Okay. So he had that on me, and so I walked through the door, was immediately hit, and died.
Oh.
So,
Yeah. See, I fought two human. I fought this boss 3 times. I fought 2 humans and 1 NPC for him. But before we get to that, let's real quick, because when you first go
this
in,
cutscene is just the
Yep.
best.
Yep, this is as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Like in Souls games, like I fucking love this. So the robe which he's wearing kind of like swaths off of him, like he kind of dismisses it, right? Like that little like wrist flick that he does, and goes off to find somebody, like kind of flies through the air, and then he dies. Like, and that's that's why we keep saying the robe is the demon. The king has actually been dead forever. And then animates somebody, but you get to see his chamber, which is like this, all of these chairs up against, like piled up and haphazardly placed.
Oh yeah.
In a way I can't figure out why, but always unnerves me. I went to a haunted house where they had a room like that.
Yeah.
Called the 13th Door in Portland. They had two things. One, a room where just all these chairs were just like placed up against the wall, as if the laws of gravity themselves had turned strange in the room for a second, and then 2, you walked into this one hallway where it was a hospital room, creepy hospital setting, and instead of having, because haunted houses are people jumping out at you, that's what they do, but it was people dressed up in hospital gowns eating dark meat slowly.
Like organ meats.
Like, yeah, that's what it looked like food colored, like probably like ham.
Yeah.
Or something like that, just like slowly eating ham and never looking at you. And then you go around the corner and it kind of doubles back on itself, and there is like a J horror style woman crawling across the floor at me, and I lost my shit because like for a second I was like, this is so unlike a haunted house. Like it actually shook my my belief in the artifice of it.
Yeah.
I was like, this is so weird. What has happened? Like if I stepped through some kind of portal and then like walked around the corner, and this again, like not very much like a haunted house. Like that's haunted houses are about guys who are into death metal grabbing your arm, and this was just this like crawling towards me like non-urgently, super great. Like
yeah. See, I'm super spoiled because actually right now Halloween Horror Nights down in Universal Studios, which is just like, hey, let's actually put some money into haunted houses.
Yeah.
And like crazy
I have
gimmicks.
to make a pilgrimage there at some point. Like,
yeah. Not before you go to OSR, man.
What is OSR?
The prison in Mansfield?
Oh yeah. I think you've mentioned that before.
I've mentioned that before, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we've got a really good haunted house here. Like that one's not necessarily the good one. There's a thing called Fright Town, which is like 3 haunted houses in one, and it's huge and has really high production values. It's really good.
Yeah, we've got Kings Island. They convert the entire theme park into like a haunted house horror experience.
So good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm super excited. Fright Town's doing a Lovecraft. One of their houses is all Lovecraft this year.
Nice.
So that's made for me. I hope it's not just like metalheads grabbing my arm. Like they do a good job, but I hope that they do some unnerving stuff as well.
Yeah.
Let's see one fucking ego floating non-threateningly.
Yeah. I just love the idea of him sitting on this throne made of thrones. Like,
yeah. Bring me every chair in the kingdom.
Yes.
They mean something different in my world.
You don't understand.
And
You don't speak Robin.
And there's
when
like
in robe, do as the Robins do.
My name's Josh Robin. This is my favorite Eldritch horror.
This is my absolute favorite kingdom. Yeah, it's it's also like that scene in The League, Raffi's apartment. Has all the load-bearing wall of chairs, but nobody understands why it's there. Man.
And there's also a lot of like this is pretty much a direct reference to The King in Yellow.
Oh yeah.
Like,
what's Hester?
Not so subtly.
Hester.
Hester,
Hester, the King in Yellow, the titular play. There's a neat detail in this too. If you look at the wall, there are all these pictures of the Queen that have been like had acid splashed on them and
defaced,
and their faces scarred out, kind of shades of Gwyn's lost son kind of thing going on there. Super just neat. like my favorite like set piece. Like I would love to walk around it and just have the heebie-jeebies put into me in a big bad way. And also the idea that he just kind of like lays there. You know, the robe is animate, like a a pile of quicksand. You know, or like inanimate almost, or like waiting. You know, dormant is the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
Until it has to do this thing and defend itself.
Yeah, like his physical body just doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Also consider for a moment how horrifying that would be. Like just like that. Like this is paranoia inducing that any phantom in this world could just be brought in from any place and hijacked by this ancient monstrosity.
Yeah. If you're just living as a phantom.
Yeah.
You know, it's like fucking. You know.
I thought you were going to go with that any article of clothing could be an agent.
Yeah. I do own a yellow shirt.
Burn him!
Yeah, that Wario costume was not worth it.
Should have gone with Waluigi.
Yeah. There's no yellow is not safe, man. Yellow is such a good color. The H.P. Lovecraft Literary Podcast, after they ran out of Lovecraft, they started doing kind of general horror stories, which was not that great. But they did The King in Yellow, and kind of did a couple different stories from it, and gave it and they had this kind of like weird fiction expert whose name is escaping me right now, but who talked about like the significance of the color and like its symbology throughout history and why it's chosen for so many kind of creepy things. And it was really interesting. Like I've plugged that podcast before, but that's a really good episode.
I thought
kind of rebirth mode.
I thought it was just that Lovecraft didn't like Orientals.
You're thinking of the robe in black.
Oh,
you're thinking about
black.
The robe in African.
Yeah.
And then it turns out he was half Chinese.
He bought it from a Pier 1 Imports. I don't know. I just figure I should decorate my house with a bunch of masks now all of a sudden. Anywho, so you fight a PvP encounter that's like puffed up. So you either fight like a really bland NPC that fights with claws and has these these homing soul masses, or like a straight up PvP one of your it's a real test because we talked about how the Man-Eater is the hardest boss in the game. This could very easily be the hardest boss in the game if you run up against a real serious PvP expert. Yeah,
or somebody who has specifically made their build to be as aggravating as possible.
Yep. It's like a troll's paradise. It's also cool because there's for helping the game out, you get this item like you can get that head wrap.
Yeah,
which,
also known as the item that has ruined a million let's plays of this game. Like I can't see anything. God damn it!
Yeah. It's a trade off for its super magic boosting ability. And obviously, if we didn't talk about Xanthus King Jeremiah, that's what this is from.
Yeah.
Jeremiah spoke in class today. It's fucking weird. He keeps talking about chairs and centipedes and
what happened to all the skin?
What happened to all your skin?
Is that the Twin Peaks version?
He's got that similar to the Rusted Root guy. He has that way of singing where his like voice will make dips and kind of hills and valleys in a way that makes it sound like it's backwards. Like
he does a resonant backwards into a stop.
Or Dave Matthews does that too. If you listen to he's constantly warbling.
It's the what is it? Scott Stapp. It's garbage. It's the Scott Stapp. What's his name from Stone Temple Pilots? They've all got that.
Stone Temple Pilots a little bit like it's more of like a grunge,
Scott
like
Weiland,
a growl. Yeah, but like without the kind of making your voice crack. Like they're kind of like little male Macy Grays. if you listen to a Dave Matthews Band or a Rusted Root.
Oh man.
Speaking of Rusted Root.
Speaking of that, So, like any notable encounters on these guys for you all?
Just the time I walked in, got killed. really great.
A++ would die again.
I feel really bad. Like the other time, it actually worked, and it's like somebody actually got in there because like a lot of times. like the cutscene would play, and I was like, "Oh, cool! I can't skip it. Someone must be getting in there," and then it would just fail. The other time, like I just screwed up the Black Phantom fight, and I was like, "Well, shit. Sorry, dude."
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The the weird thing about that is you don't have to kill somebody as the old monk in order to get the head wrapping. You just had the other person just has to die. So if you're summoned in, it's anticlimactic, but you get the head wrapping without any hit to your world tendency. So hey, free head wrapping.
Yeah, exactly. Whenever you see a head wrapping, grab it.
Yeah. Have you? Are you? I really want to check out. Did you know he wrote a book, like recently, like a novel? Jack Handy did. This is way off topic, but
I was like, what?
Yeah, no, it's called The Stench of Honolulu, and everything that I've seen about it looks like amazing. But it's a novel written by Jack Handy in 2013.
That's weird.
Yeah,
I can also see that being a real train wreck too.
Oh yeah,
that has like this weird desperation stench to it. In addition to being kind of intriguing.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm gonna check it out after I finish my my horror reading for October. So I mean I fought a couple guys. There was like Red Menace 99 and something else, just like dumb PlayStation Network names, but nobody who was too tough. Mm-hmm. I fought a dual katana guy, which I respected because he was dual katana or dual uchi katanas or some some Eastern sword. Like you don't always recognize them by sight. Who was relatively tough, and who more or less like killed himself. Like he got careless, and I was playing very conservatively. Yeah. If it was like an honor duel, I would have lost. But I figure like honor duel rules are totally off. I mean, in general, but they're really off here, where like you get free soul orbs all the time. Yeah. My first playthrough, the one that I ended up beating, just because the other ones were really hard. It was still a really hard fight because the guy was turtling behind a very big shield. I couldn't identify it by sight, but he was attacking me with a spear, Mm-hmm. It was arduous, probably the longest boss fight I've encountered or gone through, just because it was, he did turtle so severely.
Yeah. So for succeeding this, which again, coolest boss fight. Mm-hmm. These two, man, the hardest and coolest. Like this area is so fucking rich.
Yes.
God damn it, it's so good.
I had kind of another point. So the idea of this multiplayer focused narrative thing that gets you a reward, like this is kind of a proto covenant. Like if you just want to be a person who is summoned into Old Monk, like it doesn't work exactly the same way, but it's the closest thing that Demon Souls actually has.
It's like where the because the covenants in Dark Souls are where the PvP and the world meet.
Yeah.
And this is where in this game where the PvP and the world meet.
Yeah. And for as stoked as I am good God, for as excited as I am about the
tasty
about the Mirror Knight, I kind of hope that they didn't blow their load by showing us the coolest PvP thing. Like I hope that there's a surprise waiting behind that.
I bet you there's other cool PvP stuff. Like even the other PvP stuff they've revealed is great. Mm-hmm. Like the covenant you can get into where people sign up for it and they're like your bodyguards and they auto get summoned whenever you get invaded.
Oh, mm-hmm. Really? Oh,
like that?
Man.
Yeah. There's a way. There's like a covenant where you can be. It's like the Good Aligned covenant, and instead of being worthless like the fucking Princess Guard or something like that, like if you just sign up for this thing, and then no matter what you're doing, if your buddy gets invaded or somebody who's wearing this ring, you just get summoned to help him.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Whenever you're at, and that's just gonna be huge for PvP, and it's an awesome way to like fuck over dickhead invaders. It's automatically going to be a 2-on-1 if you're invading, because invading should be hard.
Mm-hmm. Now you're just making me. I posted on Facebook that I got into the Dark Souls 2 beta, and I did, but I didn't redeem the code at midnight PST when I got it. So I was like, I got home from work, see in my inbox, I'm like, that's cool, I'll go redeem this. Nope.
Yeah, by the time I woke up, it was too late for me as well. So
yep. Unfortunate. Mm-hmm. Oh well, I mean it's fine. Like I'll just play the whole thing. Like I'm desperate to do it, but as long as I don't die, before, then I'm okay. Like that's pretty much my thing.
Dark Souls.
Yeah, it's like those people who decided not to kill themselves until after the 7th book of Harry Potter came out.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I had Harry Potter. I had Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
Now I have Dark Souls.
Yeah.
If the media I love can just kind of string these along and leapfrog me into a natural death of old age, then I'll take it.
It's like all those people who wrote Stephen King, when they were riddled with cancer, wanting to find out how the Dark Tower ended.
Yeah.
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 So this is depressing.
If he was Vince Gilligan, he would have told him.
Oh, yeah.
Vince Gilligan's a superhero.
He is.
Yeah, and the kid is fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
And if it's a shame that there's not a heaven. because if there was, he would go to it and know it for how Breaking Bad ended. Anywho, so you beat him. You've done this amazing thing, and you get his soul, which is actually very useful.
Mm-hmm.
It has 2 really excellent, uses. One, the Insanity Catalyst, which is the same thing as the tin crystallization catalyst, more or less. Halves your usage and doubles your casting power. And or Homing Soul Arrow, which is the same as Homing Soul Mass, and is way more powerful in this game than it is in Dark Souls.
It's really good.
It fires quicker, right?
Yeah, it fires quicker. It does a little bit more damage, and you can just do as many as you want because, so you can always have it up.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
And just sort of to go in sort of a lore sense, like so you defeat this boss, right? But things didn't get really any better. Like there's still gargoyles, there's still man scorpions, man centipedes.
Yeah.
Like it's still like I don't know. You're in the invading theme. You're the invading army that I beat your army.
This world has already conquered itself.
Yeah.
Like things get better because there won't be any more. Like you've stopped something evil, but there's no going back.
Right.
Like you never run into normal Latrians. It's like Rydell and that merchant are going to repopulate the kingdom.
Yeah.
Just, like, are you up for it today? Oh! But there's no going back.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Unless you unlock the secret kingdom building sim.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, like the ActRaiser minigame.
Yeah.
Demon Souls Rune Factory.
The Fantasy Harvest Moon.
My wife has been playing that nonstop. I'm really desperate for attention, guys.
Is there a new one or is it okay?
Yeah.
I never played any of the Rune Factory games.
No.
I'm a Pokemon man myself. I mean, I like Harvest Moon, but like farming or I like monster sims. Never the twain shall meet. But hey, do we have any wrap up thoughts on Latria? Other than just the praise that we've just kind of been puking out of our mouths.
Like having, since this is my second go around on the merry-go-round, this probably is just my favorite area, like my favorite of the worlds, not just from the lore perspective, obviously, but I think I like to play a lot here too. But
yeah, this is it's even in the middle, so this is the meat of the Dark Souls sandwich.
Yeah.
Demon Souls.
Mm-hmm. Will, super fan and guest Will, when he's famously likes Demon Souls more than Dark Souls, fairly rare, and he was just like, well, I love Dark Souls, I love X, Y, and Z, but Dark Souls doesn't have a Lovecraftian prison that opens up into nothing I've ever seen before.
Yeah.
And and I always heard that before I played the game, because I was a late adopter to this game as well, and seeing it it cashes the checks that it writes.
Yeah.
Like we're not overrating this. I don't feel like
no.
Like it's so good.
Yeah, like every moment in these games should be treasured to a certain extent, but this is definitely something to cherish as wow, this is an experience I'm very glad that I had.
Yeah. It succeeds in being scary in a way that is rare for the series.
Yeah,
that doesn't
aside from the overriding anxiety, like there is a sense of horror to this.
Right.
Yeah. Like 5, the 5th level is like sort of disgusting but not horrifying.
Yeah, it's human. It's horrifying from a human rights perspective.
Yeah, right.
Like,
but in 4, just whatever.
I really like 4, but it's not.
Oh, no, yeah, right.
Yeah, different. There's
skeletons. Yeah, there's skeletons. Yeah. Spooky skeletons.
Yeah, 4 has Grim Reapers that summon phantoms, and it's not scary. Like that's just showing you how scary this is. Like,
Yeah.
it's all dark and there's just constant Grim Reapers. Not scary. This, some unnerving architecture and bio waste and a blood swamp and chairs, and there you go. Recipe for fear.
So somewhere in between there is the line that crosses from non-scary to scary.
Yeah, take a note, aspiring writers. More chairs.
More chairs. Well, not so much more chairs, just more chairs in one place.
Yeah, exactly. Like I'm just imagining like Stephen King, like in like a writer's workshop, and just kind of be like, or not Stephen King, like a hack writer, because Stephen King isn't a chair master, but some chair master for a writer.
Yeah.
Talking to his students,
and
then just be like, I don't understand, teach. I put tons of chairs in there, and he's like, yes, but think about where the chairs are. You've got a chair in the living room, and a chair in the basement, and a chair at the store, and a chair at the gas station. But what if you had 4 chairs at the gas station? Like, wow, it all makes sense.
I'm just picturing a parade of prisoners bringing chairs to the old monk, in order to curry favor, But then there's like one who has like a stool, and he's just like immolated, like let that be a lesson to you all. He's the one who get add yourself to the corpse catamari. In the end of, or not the end of, but like the second half of the Vonnegut novel Slapstick, after the kind of apocalypse has happened, the main character, at some point, somebody with kind of like I feel like somebody with like a disability or something gives him a candle holder, and he gets this reputation for loving candle holders, and everyone gives them to him as way of tribute. So he has this room that's just piled with candle holders. Like candelabras and candle holders. Does he actually love candle holders?
No.
Okay.
No, it was like an arbitrary thing, and he just got this reputation for it, and he just lets it go because it makes people feel good to think that they can get him something he likes.
Well, like that happens in everybody's family. It's "I thought you loved" syndrome.
Exactly.
My grandma, people got in their heads that she loved frogs, and so they got her her entire house was decorated in frog stuff until she was like, I'm done with the frogs.
I think I'm sure I've told it before, but I used to do that with cordial cherries. So much so that during my terrible poop sock weekend of playing Final Fantasy VII, I subsisted on them. And it's because my mom used to give me cordial cherries until I was 22, and I eventually was just like, they don't like these. It's disgusting.
For me, it was magic tricks, because at one point I did a magic trick for my grandma, and then just magic tricks every birthday, Christmas, Easter.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Every birthday, Christmas, and Easter, my family gets me a canister of cashews, and I fucking love it.
Yeah,
that's my reputation that I got, and it was apt.
Yeah, if you're young, cultivate an accurate reputation.
Yeah.
Yes,
that's our advice from Bonfireside Chat to you.
The more you know.
Yeah, next episode, we will be talking about the Shrine of Storms. Specifically 4-1 and the Shrine of Storms in general, with Jake Booth, who you may know from YouTube as Video Game Talking Head. He is probably, he was the first person I saw who was doing high-quality lore videos on Demon Souls. Other people kind of jumped in the game now, but I like his videos a whole lot. He actually just put one out on Latria, so I'd recommend checking it out. Covers a lot of the same stuff we covered, and then also some other stuff. And generally, he's a really good guy.
Oh,
and
it's exciting.
So I'm excited to be joined by him. In the meantime, Murph, what do you have to plug?
Oh man, let's see. Well, there's Dork Night, which we mentioned before, which is my weekly conversation with a bunch of my college buddies, where we talk about just general nerd culture. There's also Bad Controller Op, inspired by one Dennis Furia and his terrible opinions about the GameCube controller, which is at Bad Controller Op, which is Bad Controller Opinion. Tweet at us about your bad controller opinions and that sort of thing. Usually a tweet a day, probably about 3 p.m. EST.
Yep, it's a high quality Twitter.
Yeah.
Yes.
We should clarify that Dennis, I think he said it was the GameCube controller was the best controller.
Yes,
just throwing that out there. I just want everyone to know that. It's not,
I was going to ask.
It's not a mildly bad.
Yeah.
Controller opinion.
I was going to ask where he fell on it, because I've never heard him express this opinion before. I don't think. Or if he has, it's been on one of the hundreds of hours of podcasts that I've recorded with him.
Yeah, it was on Twitter.
Yeah,
but it's pretty rough, because I've heard some faint defending of that controller where people are like, listen, guys, it's not so bad.
Yeah,
but I've never heard somebody be like,
I don't want to get into this fracas here, but I kind of like it. Kind of. It's like, I won't say it's like, I won't defend it as much as I'll defend like my Logitech wireless PS2 controller or something. Legitimately like, oh, this actually just like makes everything better. But yeah, I don't think.
I know what the next tweet. I know what the next tweet is.
Jesus.
Yes. It's a crime against the D-pad. It's also the ugliest controller I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Those are my two things. Like, I use it, I like it just fine.
Yeah.
It's not. It's usable.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that it feels good in the hand, even if some of the buttons are not particularly operable.
I think most of the buttons are bad. It does feel good in the hand.
Yeah.
If I didn't have to look at it, like, the GameCube controller is a controller for people who are blind, who just like the feeling of a controller in their hand. Like, it's like a prop for somebody who's on death row.
Yeah.
And they just need like a blind old guy with tons of wisdom who's going to die, and you just want him to feel like he's playing a video game right before you murder him by the state.
Oh, it's like the Redwall books.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. That's what the GameCube controller is good for.
There we. All right, I think I've got a couple tweets in there.
Typing notes furiously.
Dennis furiously.
Yeah.
By way, go ahead.
I just wanted to say one other thing that I'm currently doing for Dork Night is 31 days of Twine games, which is some of them are better than others. I will freely admit that, but some of them, like Spooky Mansion, super good. So check them out. They're on dorknight.com.
Sweet.
Yeah. I've been meaning to check that out. Like, I can't imagine they're real long. Like, part of me is just like, these are probably, I imagine they're pretty short if you're doing one of them a day.
Yeah.
Like, the ones on the weekends tend to be a little bit longer, and most of the time it's just me trying to figure out how to do a certain thing in Twine. Like, one of them I implemented blackjack. And it's Spooky Casino, where the monsters will kill you if you fuck up dealing.
That's great. Yeah, no, is. I'm very happy to hear about this because I wasn't aware of it.
Yeah, it's just on. There's a whole list on dorknight.com.
Sweet.
Yeah, definitely. And then you talked about doing this. If any, and I would encourage you to do this once the month is over, kind of curating them into a best of.
Yes.
So if anyone's intimidated by the sheer number.
Right, and I've actually got to do one after this. So.
Oh, wow.
Tonight's is going to be short.
Awesome.
Would you like to win the game, YN? Me and Kole do things.
We do. We do things, but before we do that, I will say if you have any thoughts on 4.1, the first area of the Shrine of Storms, it's duckfeed.tv/contact.
Yep. Yeah. And we encourage you to share those thoughts because it's people hate those skeletons.
They do.
So it's when skeletons go bad. And every the enemies you hate from Dark Souls come from those skeletons. So me and Kole do Watch Out for Fireballs, which is our retro video games podcast. We do a show called Abject Suffering, which is a bad video games podcast that is also retro video games podcast on accident. That is more digression-y and goofier.
Yeah.
Yep.
And also really funny in my humble opinion.
Yeah, I'm very proud of it.
Yeah.
Cole does a show called The Level, which he mentioned, and with Dennis Furia, we mentioned, and it's not just like hour after hour of defending the GameCube controller, despite what this episode may have led you to believe. So that doesn't. It comes. There's lots of subjects. Not about the GameCube controller that they talk about. Yeah. So I would say it's your source for news that's not about GameCube controllers.
Yes. We can at least be assured of that. Yeah. Also, there is Those Damn Ross Kids. It's on a brief hiatus right now because of real life stuff, but we're working to get that back. Do not lose hope.
Like Florida has been knocking it out of the park lately.
Yeah. No, I'm accumulating it. Don't
Yeah,
worry.
you just do like an 8-hour Florida special when you come back, like a telethon.
Yeah. When you walk through a storm, hold your head up high. Yeah. Yeah. And Gary does a show called Pilot Season, which comes out bi-weekly on Mondays. That is a variety show in the absolute truest sense of the term, in that every episode has a different premise. It is the beginning of an entirely different show.
Yep.
Yeah.
The one I'm actually changing the order up too. So the one that comes out the day after this comes out is going to be a Halloween special, because I want to do something for spooky October. So I'm going to read some original horror fiction on that. So look forward to that. Also, just to shamelessly plug this, I put out a record called the Stoic Club, which is as the moniker Super Mario Lab. So you can get that at Duckfeed.tv/store. It's 50 songs, 49 micro songs, 1 macro song, all done in Mario Paint Composer. Very proud of it. And it is, the songs are about 30 seconds long for the most part. So you play it on shuffle. You get a lot of little kind of video game music from an alternate dimension kind of thing going on. Yeah. So check it out. It's $5.
Cool. And then just to continue the Plug Fest, we were on an episode of Retronauts here recently. It is the Portland Retro Gaming Expo episode about the Sega Genesis. And that was a good time.
Yeah, check that out. And I think that's it.
Yep, just about the usual facebook.com/bonfireside chat. The tip jar, where you can or buy stuff through Amazon, helps cover server costs and the like.
Ratings, reviews. iTunes. We got our first negative review on iTunes, and it's fair too. It's like usually I think those things. Well, these guys are idiots. They don't know shit.
Yeah.
But he just has a legitimate problem with our delivery, and you know what? Good on you, buddy.
Yeah.
That's fine. If you think the show is worth 2 stars, get on there and do it. But we just want to hear from you.
Not everything is for everybody.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So let us know what you think is our point.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Oh no, what have we done? People are going to tell us what they really think now, Gary. It's scary.
Oh, yeah. God, really? I can tell you? God, I hate you guys. Hundreds of hours flushed down the toilet.
Yeah. I know. You're just waiting for the permission. I've got a very strong case. In 2011, September, you said that...
Oh, man. So, I don't know. We should probably land this plane.
Yeah. So until next time, if only I had some friends.
Praise the sun.
Yeah. So the world might be mended.
Umbasa. There we go.
And we all pray that we will have far more soon.
All right, you're faster at using the bathroom than Kole.
Oh, that's good.
I am back.
Murph beat you just barely. Can we print up a real quick faster urinator than Kole certificate?
I also went to refill my water bottle, so...
It's a photo finish.
That's a rookie mistake.
It's literally a photo finish, guys. All right. Sorry.
Got one. Yeah. Pause.